Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Our next guest, as regular as a guest gets on this show. One of our favorites. He even announced our Little League game.
Home run derby, baby.
Did a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
I mean,
It's a good time.
Honestly, you did kind of look like you were phoning it in. I've never seen someone less interested in.
I think I was paid in pizza, though, to be fair.
Were you really? Well, that aggravates me.
I think it was.
That's embarrassing. I would have paid. I would have out of my personal coffers.
You know what was good, Artie, is I was, sitting. I get here about 5 minutes of the hour.
Right.
I'm sitting outside. You text Filato, nothing. Text him a second time, nothing. You and your lovely fiance, I got to know each other outside because we were both standing in the cold for the last 15 minutes.
I sent the girls down.
It was freezing out there. Just sitting there, getting hypothermia.
Listen,
hanging out.
the two words you won't find in a lot of our meetings is work ethic.
I think they're upset about the iced coffee. That's why they made you wait. There's something with that iced coffee. They're upset.
Definitely upset about the iced coffee.
Well, Chris does. He has every right to be tired. He was just going over his schedule with me. What did you just write? 15 pages of
19.
What?
Our NBA preview issue is out next week.
So you're the guy for that, right?
We have we have a couple of guys, but it's like 50 pages. It's like any preview issue is
Right,
huge, so it's enormous, and you have to do. I did 2 divisions. I did the Southeast Division and the Pacific Division. I did a 5-page story on the Brooklyn Nets. So
okay. So now you basically travel with them to do that story?
They went to Duke. I mean, obviously they're here, so it's nice to stick around with them. But they went to Duke for about a week, and I went down there. And before I went to the Miguel Cotto fight after that, so I was bouncing back and forth from that there. But they wanted to get away for a while to get away from the media spectrum there's around them. So.
How do they look at the Brooklyn Nets, by the way?
They're better than the Knicks.
Yeah. Are they really?
They're better than the Knicks.
You think so?
Yeah.
Legitimate? Wow.
Legitimately. Look.
Well, listen, Garnett. Who knows? Maybe
They have 5 guys that are going to start that have averaged 20 points a game in their career.
Right.
Their 3 top bench guys all averaged more than 10 points per game last season. Like this team, and they have Andre Kirilenko who can defend everybody.
But how do they play together? I mean, how is that going to work?
Garnett has always been a glue guy. Garnett's not Carmelo Anthony. He's not going to go in there and demand the ball all the time. Same thing with Paul Pierce. These guys are going to blend together. And when you get guys at the back end of their careers, when you get guys that are late 30s that want to win or desperate to win one more championship, it makes life so much easier. The Knicks, to me, it's predictable. Their entire schedule is predictable. They'll win 45 to 50 games, and they'll get smacked in the first round by somebody.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What
about the Nets?
I mean, how do you know? The Nets
Knicks fans don't tolerate that.
The Nets will win like 47 to 52. They'll win that first round series probably against the Knicks or whoever the 6th seed is, Detroit, Atlanta, somebody like that. And then you get a little more difficult because then you got Indiana, Miami, Chicago. Now Derrick Rose is just killing people in the preseason. I saw somebody said tonight he had 54 points in his first 53 minutes in the preseason.
Should he calm down, though? Is he going to get hurt again? Should he go a little slower?
He's 23.
I know.
What were we doing when we were 23? Well, do we want to ask that question?
Moving on. Yeah, no, a lot of people when I was 23 said, Art, slow down. Slow down. No, I mean, I think about if I'm a Bulls fan and you're paying that guy, I mean, I admire the enthusiasm, but slow down a little.
But think about it. He's had something like 17 months off.
But they kept him out of the game 2 days earlier in Brazil for knee soreness, and then 2 days later.
Yeah, that was nothing. That was nothing. That was, that's just like, let's slow him down a little bit. Like, Greg Oden has knee soreness. Derrick Rose does not have knee soreness.
Yeah.
I saw Greg Oden.
Joe Namath has knee soreness.
I saw Greg Oden last night. You would know. You've seen some big knee braces in your life. I've never seen a bigger knee brace than the one that's on Greg Oden's right knee. It's legitimately like you took 2 pillows and wrapped it around his knee with like duct tape and put it there. It
is disconcerting.
How is he looking this
but not
season?
Good. Not good. He'll be lucky.
So that was a pointless signing?
No, it's not pointless because they're signing him the second half of the season maybe.
Wow.
But they signed him so maybe they can get 10 minutes per game out of him against Roy Hibbert, Joakim Noah, Brook Lopez. That's why they signed him.
Here's the big question in Brooklyn. How are they going to deal with the loss of Jay-Z?
Wasn't it hilarious how much he owned? I think you could have bought Jay-Z's piece of that team.
It really was. He seemed to just be like, I think he owned a hot dog.
They made it like he was, he was a co-owner of this team.
Great move to get them on the map, though. Play to Barclays Center, take a millionth of a percent, and it's Jay-Z's part.
Well, the best part of that is Jason Kidd bought his piece of the team. Jason Kidd now owns Jay-Z's piece of the team.
No kidding.
Yeah, he bought it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think about his jersey being retired?
I thought it was weird they did it in the preseason because nobody cared. There was nobody there last night, and there's a muted reaction.
Why would that be a preseason
Well,
thing?
I think part of the thinking was because Jason suspended the first 2 games for that DUI arrest, so he's not going. They wouldn't be able to do it in the first game of the season. But there's no real rush for this.
It happens. I mean, a lot of guys have to delay their Jersey retirement because of criminal charges.
But what's the rush? Like, what? There's no real rush. Nobody's wearing number 5 right now. I don't know what the rush was for that.
It's odd. You're right. Nobody cares.
I've been to jersey retirements in places like Boston and in New York.
Yeah.
I swear to God, they were raising his number to the rafters, and nobody was doing anything. They were just sort of looking at each other, eating hot dogs, and playing on their iPhones. It was weird.
It's funny. I was at a Yankee game once when Mark Belanger died. The Orioles, amazing defensive shortstop.
Right.
This was 1989-ish or something. And Bob Shepard, the classic Yankee announcer before the game, said, "Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Moment of silence for Mark Belanger." No one stopped talking. No one, people ask you, who's Mark Belanger? Like, there literally was never a moment of silence. Bob Shepard asked 5 times and then bailed.
Oh, that's awful.
But he was he was the Orioles shortstop. You were in Yankee Stadium,
I mean, it's bizarre because Jason Kidd is arguably, he put Dr. J, arguably one of the greatest players in the history of the Nets franchise. I mean, his number.
Oh, Jason Kidd in the Nets franchise. Absolutely.
His number deserves to be retired as much as anybody. And it was so bizarre. I'm sitting there on press row and I'm looking around, and everybody's just talking to each other. Nobody's even paying any attention. Almost like Jason didn't want to be there. Jason's sort of like, let's go faster, let's go faster.
That's a lack of respect. But he's got. Didn't he have some? I don't want to speak out of turn, but didn't he have some domestic violence stuff?
He did
going
back
on
in the day.
Yeah. So DUI. I mean, he's not the most liked guy.
I mean, it's the NBA though.
That's true.
It's sports. It's sports. I mean,
yeah, I guess compared
that
to
in sports, that kind of stuff's forgiven rather quickly.
Yeah, there's guys on death row right now.
Ray Lewis is doing Campbell's commercials for the end of his career. I mean, come on.
That is crazy. But the Ray Lewis thing, I'd love to have him full of truth serum. And that's an excellent point. It's nothing.
He became a caricature at the end.
But I thought Kidd, when he was on Nets or Knicks, had hit his wife or something. Is that right, Dan? Or something? Accusations of it.
Nets back in the day, he was accused of that stuff with his. This was back in like 0102 or something like that.
Yeah. You're right. Who cares? Moving on. Moving on with it. I'd love for the Nets, Brooklyn Nets, to come out of nowhere and take out the Heat. But you think someone's going to take them out this year?
I think it's very possible. Look, I think this year Indiana should win the conference. Indiana is the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Did they get better?
They got much better. Danny Granger comes back. Danny was an all-star 2 years ago. He got a knee problem last year, didn't play at all. Danny Granger's back. He goes to the bench, makes that bench much better. They sort of trade off, not an exact trade, but they swapped Tyler Hansbrough for Louis Scola. And Louis Scola is a much better offensive player than Tyler Hansbrough was.
Where'd Hansbrough go?
He went to Toronto. He signed there for like $20 million in the offseason.
Oh,
yeah, it's
a lot of money
the
thrown
NBA,
around.
The NBA. Tyler Hansbrough, a guy that I never thought was going to make it in the NBA is getting $20 million.
$20 million.
But this team is stacked from top to bottom. They're from 1 through basically 9. They're stacked. Their one weakness is their point guard position. George Hill's kind of middle of the road, but everywhere else they're stacked.
He was good, George.
He's good, but he's not dynamic. And in the NBA, you look at the point guards around the league, whether it's Rose, whether it's Rondo, Russell Westbrook, Tony Parker.
His own league.
What did Tony Parker do last? Tony Parker almost beat the Heat by himself at times.
He did beat the Heat.
Yeah.
And then Ray Allen hits.
God, you need a dynamic. You need a dynamic playmaker a lot of times to win in the NBA, and Hill doesn't quite reach that level. But even without that, they're stacked. Chicago with Derrick Rose back is enormous. And one thing about Garnett and Pierce, everybody's focused on the numbers and what they bring to this team and how they can make it better. What they can bring more than anything else is a hatred of Miami. Those guys. Paul Pierce yesterday at the game.
A lot of people have that.
First quarter. LeBron's driving down the lane. Like 3 minutes into the game of a preseason game. Yeah. LeBron's driving down the lane, and Paul Pierce just levels him. Just drops him. Just absolutely
send the message, man.
Just drops him, and then doesn't even look at LeBron after that.
Bob Gibson, Don Drysdale.
In the preseason. And this stuff is going to bleed into these guys. Last year against Chicago, that was a heartless team, and those players will admit that.
Right.
That team last year was totally heartless. They'll inject heart into that team, and that might be enough.
I think we got to take a break, right? Okay. Do we? Or no? I just want to make sure no commercial either, right? Let me tell you something. Well, again,
Connecticut School
Dan doesn't
Broadcasting?
answer my text. No. I'm a graduate, and I'm speaking there. That would be great if they brought me back to speak. just let me speak at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. That would be fun. No, let me tell you, if the Pacers are better from what I saw of them in the play, I thought they were amazing and should have beat the Heat last year.
Yeah.
If you're saying they're much better, that makes me feel good.
Measurably better this year.
Yeah, all right.
And that's in addition to the guys that were 22 years old getting better on their own. The one thing about Miami is they kind of plateau. Like their guys are all 29, 30. They're still great. Yeah. But Dwayne Wade, his knees were bad last year. They're not going to get better this year. Chris Anderson, he was good in spurts last year, but you got to rely on him all season long. Not so sure about that either. Indiana, they should win the conference.
Is he 32, 33, Dwayne Wade?
31, 32 in that ballpark.
But he's an old 31, 32.
He plays hard. He plays, he had that commercial back in the day, fall down 9 times, get up 10. He used to get whacked around a lot as a player. And those knees, I mean, John, you know this too, like knee injuries are chronic sometimes when you get to this point. And I don't think it's going to get any better over the next season.
Well, the way that it gets better is you don't do anything.
Yeah.
You rest for...
Yeah.
They'll do that. You don't play a full basketball season.
Right. Yeah.
I hope somebody takes him out. If it's the Pacers, fine.
But home court's in critical this year because you saw why Indiana lost that Game 7. It was in Miami. That's why they lost it. And that was you gotta get home court, especially with the second and third round of the playoffs being just knockdown, drag out fights with Brooklyn, Indiana, Miami, and Chicago.
Did you see the quote Mark Cuban said? The Heat are like the Raiders. That made me feel kind of good.
I don't know. I like the Raiders.
The context that you either love them or you hate them.
No, but I was a Giant fan, and I still had love for the Raiders. I think
Oh, really?
I think the hatred for the Heat's more intense than that.
It is intense. Yeah. It is pretty hardcore.
Oh, we know. All right.
Yeah, you're right.
No, well, what about Chris Bosh? Let me ask you about him. What's his role with the Miami Heat? Because it was very odd last year.
Yeah, but he kind of figured it out last year. I mean, one of the ways that the Heat got better in the last 2 seasons, the guys started to recognize what they were. They came in that first year. They paid a lot of lip service to the idea of deferring, of sacrificing. Then they didn't do it. And they all tried to be alpha males, and they all tried to score, and it didn't work. They got to the finals, but Dallas, a complete team, wiped the floor with them. The next year and this year, this past season, they kind of got used to it. They kind of understood, like, all right, well, Chris Bosh, I'm not going to get 20 touches per game. I'm not going to be the low post scorer that I was in Toronto. With Dwayne Wade, I'm not going to be the alpha male anymore. This is not going to be my team anymore. It's going to be LeBron James's. As long as they keep that attitude
They had to do that. Someone had to sit him down and go, let him play.
The one wild card in this year for Miami, everyone's going to be a free agent next year. They're all going to opt out. LeBron, Wade, Bosh, they all have early termination options on their contracts. And whether they want to stay or not, they're going to opt out. This could be the last year we see of the big three in Miami. And that could be one of those topics that wherever city they go to, L.A., hey, you guys going to opt out next year? You're going to come to L.A.? New York, hey, you going to opt out next year and come to New York? Brooklyn, wherever you want, all these cities around the country, they're going to get these questions over and over again, and that can be a distraction.
So you're saying Wade, might have to, with the bad knees, steal one more to get in another ring. And,
I mean, Wade,
but to me, that's insanely possible.
It is very possible. But Wade, to me, is the big wild card. If Wade's 100% healthy and he plays 75 games in the entire playoffs, LeBron's not leaving. LeBron and Wade have a real connection. That's not lip service they pay to that. They have a real connection. If Wade's healthy and shows he can be healthy for the next 3 seasons, LeBron's not going anywhere. But if Wade's not healthy, LeBron's not. He's objective. He's pragmatic. He's cold-blooded. He's not going to come back to Miami just because he signed there. He'll go back to Cleveland. He'll go back and play for the Cavs with Kyrie Irving.
That would be great,
but think about it. What if Andrew Bynum is healthy this year? What if Andrew Bynum looks like the guy with the Lakers from 2 years ago?
Yeah.
If you're LeBron James, you're sitting back being like, well, they've got Kyrie Irving, Dion Waiters, Tristan Thompson / Anthony Bennett, and Andrew Bynum. A big gaping hole at small forward. I can go back and be a hero. I can be an icon. Forgiveness happens quickly in sports.
That would be unbelievable if he goes back to Cleveland just to stop them whining.
And wins.
Them 2 rings and retires. I'll get you a couple.
Yeah.
And that Irving kid is unbelievable.
He's one of the best point guards.
But how do you
right
keep
now.
him? Like, what's his situation?
He's going to resign.
Is he close to free agency?
When you're in that first-year contract spot, it's like what LeBron did. LeBron, Wade, Bosh, they all signed extensions on that first contract they got. They left after the second contract. So Irving's coming up on that first contract extension. It'll be huge. It'll be $80 million, but he'll stay for the next 4 or 5 years.
If Irving had any sense of humor with his agent, he should do exactly what
he'll go to Miami. LeBron leaves.
Have a full announcement on ESPN.
Have competition for it, like Fox Sports 1, NBC. Like who wants a piece?
And I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I don't know. I get Cleveland, Detroit. I root for those cities. But I don't know. You don't like basketball, do you?
I do. I think I love watching basketball. I tried to play it. So I can really appreciate.
Well, we saw you try to play softball.
Well, no. I never played that.
That was brutal.
Basketball was supposed to be my game. And football became-
John was not brutal. Buschetti was brutal.
Well, Buschetti got
he hit more balls than
I did. I got some hit up. I got some wood on the ball.
By the way,
But
Chris, you had an aluminum bat, Mike.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
The only wood
Some
you got,
aluminum on the bat.
the only wood you got on the ball is when you got hit in the teeth.
That's what I was talking about. In the outfield, when balls were hit at him, he fell down before the ball got there.
That's just sheer
There's
physical.
tape.
That's physical comedy.
It's on tape. He fell down before he got there.
That's
He was
physical.
hustling.
Did you hear the news, by the way?
No.
Mike is leaving the show.
No.
There's no
He's
news.
retired.
I got a
I'm not
writing-
retired.
I can't
He's
say-
moving
breaking
on.
my
He
He got a
chops.
writing job at Opie and Anthony. He pays more money, and I can't, deny it. So he's going over.
Wow.
No, I'm not going over there. These guys, somebody made a mistake, Chris, on
Someone made a
on my
mistake that he
Facebook
endorsed
page.
and
I
left,
didn't endorse
left
anything
up.
because
It's
So you-
published
they
on
got-
Facebook.
Chris, they got me in a hot seat. I'm not working for anybody.
It's legal.
No, it's not-
and
it's not.
published.
Artie, is this going to be like Milton from Office Space when you keep giving him paychecks but doesn't actually work here?
No, we don't want him burning the place down.
There was a glitch. There was a glitch. He keeps receiving his paycheck. He kind of moved that money.
Believe me, you have to see that. I give Mike all the staplers he wants.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
We're gonna miss you, man. That's what we're trying to say.
I'm not going anywhere.
It's not going to be the same.
Dan believes me. Dan's
Is
the
there
only
budget?
person that,
Is
like,
there budget for a party? A going away party for Mike? Because we can get some budget for that.
No, we wasted it on that cardboard cutout we made of him for when he's out.
Oh, yeah.
no.
When he
Give
had
him-
tendinitis.
Give him that.
No, I did have a pain in my foot. It wasn't.
He
it was
missed
painful.
work for tendinitis.
We do have his home
Yeah.
run derby performance if you want to see
Let's
that.
check that out again. Memory lane.
Yeah. It was entertaining.
Did you see the final edited version?
I have
Chris?
not seen the edited version.
Oh, it's very good.
John,
Well, except my part.
John Ritchie, as a pro NFL guy, was. There's
Oh!
Mikey,
This is his at bat.
in those unpre-washed Wranglers. Mike, why would you not? Mike, why would you not wear sweatpants? to bed? I just don't understand.
It was wash day.
It was wash day. Your mother was harder working it off. Mike,
That was a good hit. Look
We
at
haven't
him.
even
Watching
played-
it sail.
I haven't even played in the field.
No, you guys were all like in the infield.
No,
when I
those
got
are the
up.
priceless ones. When he fell down to third base.
Do you have any footage of the worst of it all was the girls trying to hit on, was it your nephew?
Oh, yeah.
I
They
said
were all
flirt
over
with them to make. No, they were terrible at it. It was abysmal. It was the worst hitting on someone I've ever
They
seen.
really are like it would something like. I mean, yeah. Do you any keys?
No.
Let's dance. Want to be in a limbo contest with me? Well, I got to talk to Liz. Liz just has contempt for people. Liz's face is always just like when Liz asks me something, she just goes, "What do you want?"
I got screamed at for asking for iced coffee 3 hours ago.
Okay, baby.
Wow.
Maybe we need to talk. We have to talk to the Twins. They're getting too big for their britches. They've been in New York City for over a year now. We took them out of obscurity, and now they really have an attitude. And I don't know.
And they have their eyes on, what is it, Kathy and Michael? Or, no.
Kelly and Michael.
Kelly and Michael, yeah.
Kathy and Michael.
Sorry.
No, yeah, right. You think no?
Regis
that's-
and Kathy.
They
Lee.
want to be producers or on-air talent. For you're right, the Today Show, Matt Lauer. They want to go to barbecues at Matt Lauer's house because they live out there anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm not glamorous.
Well, you are, especially tonight.
You're very
With the
charming,
shades.
God, and glamorous.
Yeah, listen. Write that in your next bit for the Opie and Anthony.
The Barbados jacket makes you much more glamorous.
Artie, I told you on the way home from the baseball game,
Thank you.
Chris Mannix and I got to listen to Marie order a restaurant person around in the car. And I remember Chris turned to me and said, they just lead a completely different lifestyle than you.
That's where you're right. See, that's the observations you have to make. Shane and I saw
I
that.
need
Shane and I
that
saw
table.
that.
I need that table.
They get what they want. They're not used to know. Shane and I saw one night. We dropped them off, and the doorman at their apartment. Where's our little man? Called him a little man. He's a hardworking guy, as if they owned him, because they. That's when you have to see the little things that show their real colors. They'll sit here all day. We're not rich. We're not spoiled or anything. And then, of course, you could tell they own people.
And when you asked them to try to pick up on Artie's cousin, they'd never tried to pick anyone up before. They've always been
that's
picked
just
up.
that's just being hot. I'm talking about the rich aspect of it. I'm talking about the condescending, the lack of care for homeless people freezing, treating dogs better than humans are treated because they think they're cute.
And didn't they lose
7
a dog?
houses.
They lost a dog.
Yeah, who
too.
cares? Buy another one.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can tell they're good at you can almost see them checking people's teeth like in the slave days.
Oh no.
Oh no, they're like out of
Everyone in
Spartacus.
America thinks I'm a dumb, rich bitch.
But honestly, they paid back their family for a lot of hard work and sending them to college with a 2.6 at Kentucky cumulative grade point GPA. Right, which leads to a job here, getting us coffee.
Where else?
Where were they, Dan, when they were outside freezing to death? Where were the girls?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I told Marie, and I said, Mannix is downstairs. I don't know
Is
what
Adrian
happened.
okay? Did she freeze? She was just here for a second.
No,
She might have
We-
caught
we-
her
the
death
back
of cold.
somewhere.
We
Back
bonded. She
somewhere.
told me about the addition you don't want put on your in your apartment. You know, we had a nice
Right.
conversation.
Oh, really? You're adding an addition? Is that because
Well, I'm
you're
adding an
planning
addition
to
to my
have?
apartment. It's called Adrian.
Oh, that's a great audition.
She wants to get a dog. She thinks it'd be therapeutic. And I said, well, I don't want it anywhere near my sandwiches. So we got to buy another apartment to keep it in. There's a lot of cute dogs in the apartment. She sees the cute dogs in the apartment. That doesn't work against me. I don't want a dog. But again, with living with somebody else, Adrian would be responsible and take care of the dog. Because I lived in L.A. My agent gave me a plant once when I lived in L.A. As a gift. And I just never did anything. I died a slow death. I'd go on the road, I'd come back and the plant died. I'm afraid that would happen to a boxer.
The dirt's like rock.
Right, that's what happened.
Just
I don't know. Well, listen, I'm not a good caregiver, is my opinion. No. I'm not a good host. Unless I have a virus that my doctor says I'm an excellent host. More with Chris Mack.
The Artie Lange Show. Weeknights on Audience. Only on DirecTV.